Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Chakdash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is an evil and rebellious people. And pretty much this title just came to me just now, and this lesson is inspired through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai by a lesson I was watching last night where Elder Pastor Har put up the video with the IUIC going to these different churches, and these different churches pretty much attacking, these IUIC members, and Spirit kept having Elder Pastor Har say that what they should have done was apply Matthew the 10th chapter. If they don't accept your peace, then shake the dust off and go to another place. There's plenty of places to go to teach. You're not going to wake up these boneheads in the churches, because these boneheads in the churches were set up to be blinded in these times. They grope at noonday, as a blind man gropeth pretty much. And pretty much that's the consensus. You see these Israelites in the churches, these Judites and the other tribes, but mainly Judah. You have Benjamin, Levi. Those individuals you see in the churches, for the most part, they were the same individuals that were back then following the Pharisees, Sadducees, the lawyers, the scribes, the chief priests, the high priests, and all them back then. And they're coming back in their lot. And just like they were seared in their minds back then, they're seared in their minds now not to accept this truth. Because you had some of those Pharisees and Sadducees and people that were following them that believed in Yahushai, but they feared, what or how they would be labeled if they would follow Yahushai, because they saw the miracles, they saw the power that Yahushai had, and they believed them, but they wouldn't dare, follow him, because they loved the what's the word I'm looking for? They love the praise of men more than the praise of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so I got a couple of precepts that came to mind. I was going to do various topics, but, the Spirit gave me that title, so, I got a couple of precepts, so we're going to go through it. So let's start off with the book of Deuteronomy 28. Why are Jakes in these churches today? Why are they in droves in these churches? Yeah, the scriptures say that our spirit beareth witness with the Lord's Spirit that we are the sons or the children of the Most High. That is true, but the other reason why they're in these churches is because the Lord put curses on our people, and that's one of the major curses, man. These different, especially plantation Christianity, which is Renaissance Christianity, Islam, these different philosophies, just whatever Jake gets into, but mainly that so-called quote-unquote Christianity. That is the bane of our people's existence. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 36. It says, "The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, into a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known." Right, that's talking about over here in the Americas. King David was the king, because the scripture say that in the latter times, we will be seeking the Lord our power and David our king. It says, and there, meaning where? In the place where our people were sold. You could read about that in Joel, the 3rd chapter. You could read about that in Revelation 12, I believe it is, and also in Hosea, the 1st chapter. That place, or there, which is that place, is talking about America, because this is one of the places where we suffered the curses also, not just among the Assyrians and Babylonians and the Greeks and the Medo Persians and the Romans, but also here in America today, because we're under captivity. And the curses that you see upon our people, it's evident who the Israelites are, if you're being honest with yourself. But if you're being a demon and you want to be somebody that's contentious, then you're not going to, even if you see it, you're going to say you don't see it. All right, so there's and the main point here is, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. So what is that? Different time periods, Jake was worshiping actual stone and wood, idols that the artificers would make, so on and so forth. But today, the wood and stone and these different gods that Jake worshiped is in the form of these churches and the philosophy, the religion, the belief that comes along with it. This Renaissance, this Renaissance Christianity has done a number on Jake. It really cemented them, and pretty much seared them in their minds with this everlasting, never dying love for the enemy, the Edomites, because those are the main ones they protect, the main ones they stick up for. If you really get down to the nitty gritty, they don't stick up for any other nation except for Esau. They don't even stick up for themselves. But let's move on from there, because anytime you have a new religion come up, something new, like Kwanzaa, nobody ever heard of Kwanzaa. Then I forgot what year it came out, and all of a sudden Jake are experts in Kwanzaa. They never heard of that shit before, but all of a sudden they're experts in Kwanzaa. So any new thing that comes up, any new religion that comes up, philosophy, anything that comes up newly, if it's to be worshipped, you will find Israelites there worshiping it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. We're going to read a couple of verses in Deuteronomy 32, because this is a heavy chapter. This whole chapter is very deep. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 32. We're going to start at 15. It says, but Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Jeshurun is another name for Israel. Jeshurun, Yashawan, which means darling, or first, right? That's another name for Israel. So they waxed fat and what? And kicked. In other words, they did good, the Lord provided, and they forgot the Lord pretty much. It says, thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. And this is talking about actually, the land and the increase of cattle and riches and all of that. But if you really look at Jake today in these churches, the majority of them are obese. It's like a pack of wild buffaloes coming out dressed in dresses and skirts and three-piece suits, big. I'm talking about yak shape, the majority of them. It's very, very going to see Jake in the church that's in shape, in some kind of shape, doing some kind of working out because of their diet, and they don't do nothing. So it says, then he forsook the Most High, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. And that's what happened. When Jake gets comfortable, they forget about the Most High. But when Jake is doing bad, that's when they want to seek the Lord. That's why he said, in their affliction, they will seek me early. That's the only time Jake really wants to seek the Lord, is when they're in trouble, when they're in a bad spot, in a bad position, when they're getting ready to go to jail, or they're struck with some serious, or diagnosed with some serious disease. Then that's when the big fat Bibles come out and the prayers and this, that, and the other. But as long as Jake is doing good and got no problems, they don't think about the Most High. And you can see it when you talk to these Jakes in the churches. They don't want to know anything about the Bible. It tells us that in Isaiah 29, which Lord is what we're going to get to that. They don't want to know anything about the Bible. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Let's get Isaiah 29. And let's start at not 29. 28. Isaiah 28 and 10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, because that's how you break the scriptures down. We have what's called link-ups, which are Old Testament scriptures that match what the New Testament says. Whatever is written in the Old Testament, there's a link up in the New Testament that matches it. Links. It says, for stammering lips and another tongue we speak to this people, which because we were speaking English back then. So this is another clue of what this is speaking about. This is the rest where we may cause the weary to rest, which is what? These scriptures, the truth of the Bible, the spirits that come with this Bible, you know? That is the comfort, because you could read the book back and forth, but if you don't have the understanding, the inspiration, you're not going to receive the comfort. You're not going to receive the benefit of it. It says, so this is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear. Why? Because the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. But Jake ain't hearing that. They ain't trying to, accept that. Matter of fact, let's go from there. I believe that is it Isaiah 29? Or is it Isaiah 30? Isaiah 30 and 8. Now go write it before them in a book. In a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. Why? Because the words that are written in this book are also used as a witness against Jake. They're also used as a witness against Jake. And when they hear this word and they don't accept it, the Lord deals with them. How you doing, officer? No, I don't, officer. Okay, I can move it. It's not a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move it out.
Okay, all right.
Right, I just want to advise when you're ready.
All right, thank you, officer. Thank you. So they don't listen. They don't want to hear, right? So it says let's read it again. Now go write it before them in the table and note it in the book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. So you can see that clearly of who this is speaking about. Jake is not trying to hear what these Israelites out here, the other Israelite groups are out here telling them. And it's coming directly out of the Bible. They're in the church. They're trying to hear what the Bible is saying. Anything that the scriptures have to say, which shows you that they're not about the Bible. That's what you say, what? True spirits, whether they are of the Most High. For many false prophets are going out into the world. It says, which say to the seer, see not, see, and to the prophets, prophesy unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits, get you on the side out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. And if you don't cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before them, what's going to happen? They're going to turn around, they're going to trample the word underfoot, and they're going to turn around and rend you. All right? And this is the God's honest truth. You always got some all right, so I'm gonna get ready to transfer everything to the to the truck and move out, because the officer gave me a warning not to that I can't park here, but he told me to take my time, but I don't want to press my luck. So let me read one more verse and another precept, and then we'll get ready to roll out. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Yeah, because they rather you lie to them than tell them the truth. You see? Because they're comfortable with lies. They're not comfortable with the truth. Even though they claim to be Christians, even though they claim to be going to church. That's why you speak. If they hear, beautiful. If they don't, then after a while, you just shake dust and move out and go somewhere else. See, but the problem with UIC is that they like millions of members. If as many members as possible, they'll accept anybody, within their ranks. When I mean anybody, I'm talking about the more the merrier. Like I know that they're not gonna accept no moles, open moles in their congregation. At least I don't think so. But as far as the more members, the better for them. It says, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. Right, so pretty much the Lord is to want to cause something, to where they're not going to be able to get out of it, because it's going to be the punishment of the Lord, because they refuse to hearken unto his words. Like I said, I'm going to transfer things to my truck and roll out of here, and Lord's will, we could keep on going, because like I said, he told me to take my time, but I don't want to press my luck and then end up getting a ticket, even though it was a Jake cop too, so and that's why when you deal with these police officers, you deal with them cordially. Now if I would have, came at him like a wild animal, he'd have gave me a ticket, probably arrested me. That's how Jake gets down a lot of times. So let me just put this on here and let's move out of here, so that way. So just bear with me, so I, move out of here, so I can park somewhere else, and then be able to continue on with the lesson. I could continue on with the lesson. So just bear with me, like I said. Give you a little tour of the park where I'm usually at. Now when I park outside of here, I'm gonna have to hopefully I go to a spot where it has a good reception. Because sometimes, when you move and you go to certain places, there's not a very good reception. But pretty much, these Jakes out here in these churches, once you see Jake up in there, the only way for them to get out of there is if the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai moves them, to get involved. Because all of us at one point or another, we were involved in some type of religion, for the most part. Whether brothers or sisters were devout or not, matter of fact, I see a good spot here. Whether brothers or sisters were devout or not, Jake came from the church, and that's the real high level demon, in these churches that is working. Them spirits are working overtime on these Jakes. So just for the just to check, can you brothers still hear me? I just want to make sure. I thought I got the damn demon here. All right, the water. I'm trying to get this piece of. Boy, Satan is a real mother. Okay, the water. Brother got it from me. Just trying to get it. All right, so let's get back into it. Salaki for the disturbance. We're going to go back to Deuteronomy 32. Let me just get set back up over here. And I figured that was going to happen, but I was trying to time it to where I was able to Because I could park, outside the park and then walk in. It's just I got to carry my stuff with me, but no big deal. So Deuteronomy 32, and we read 15. So let's go to the 16th verse. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoked they him to anger, right? And that's why you see Jake in the condition that they're in out here, in these different churches. It says they sacrifice unto devils, not to the Most High, gods whom they knew not, to new gods that newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Yeah, because wherever you find a new god, a new religion, and something to worship, you better believe you're going to find Jake there worshiping it. Because that's what Jake does. It says, of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten the power that formed thee. And what do you think the Most High is going to do to those that forget him? He's going to forget them. All you have to do is read Proverbs, the first chapter. Proverbs, the first chapter tells you all you need to know about, these Jakes out here that reject the Lord and that go about to establish their own righteousness. And when the word comes out, they don't accept it. Well, guess what? This very word that you're rejecting is the word that's going to be the protection in these times. You're going to see a lot of these individuals, they're going to be jacked up, and their pastors are going to get jacked up because when you read different scriptures that speaks about the leaders causing these people to err, it speaks about their leaders and their pastors telling them that there ain't going to be no famine, that there ain't going to be no time of trouble, that there ain't going to be this, there ain't going to be that. And that the congregation plus the pastors that are leading them astray are going to be jacked up in these times. And you see how everything is playing out. These shortages that are man-made, they're breaking down the whole structure, the whole system. They're moving everything into a digital, into digital. They're going to make it more and more difficult for people to operate and to live their quote-unquote normal lives. When you reject the Lord, you're going to be rejected when the time comes. It says, when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them and he avoided them by what? By kicking them out of the land. Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters, right? Because the Lord brought us up. He did good for us. And what did we do? We forsook him. Just that simple. All right. It says, and he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what the end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. And that is one of the keys. They have no faith. That's why they can't see. You have to have a little bit of faith in order to receive faith. It's a gift that's given from the Lord. No matter how great or how small the faith may be, it's a gift from the Lord. There are some people that have no faith at all. And that's the case with these people in the churches. They have faith in those things, but they have no faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the Lord said that without faith, it is impossible to please him. He said, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God, which is what? Back then was the different idols that they worship. Today it's these churches and these philosophies and the things that they're involved in. It says they have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. And who's that? That was dealing with the Israelite foreigners. That's what the whole, councils and the whole situation that was going on from Acts 13 to Acts 15. That was especially in Acts 13, that was the provoking to jealousy. The Apostle Paul spoke about it in Romans 11 chapter because he was actually a part of that whole council. And that's why he was able to address the Romans and tell them about that whole situation. How the Israelite foreigners were set up to provoke the Israelites that knew they were Israelites to jealousy. That's what they were all set up for. That's what the parable of the prodigal son is all about. The son that was always there that represented the Jews. The son that basically lived with harlots and all that. Those were the Israelite foreigners. Father was happy that the Israelites foreigners came back and they repented. That's why he made that great feast, because there's happiness in heaven. Angels, when one Israelite, that's comes back to the Father. That is a very great thing, a very big thing that's celebrated. It says, I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. And the Israelite foreigners were a straight up foolish nation, because they thought that by worshiping those different deities, from the different gods, was going to help them better their situation, which it did for the moment. But eventually what happened? The Lord destroyed them. So it says, for a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell. Why? Because the Most High is a power of jealousy. When you read Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, it speaks about the image of jealousy. Anytime you set up an altar, to these gods, or you set up these gods, or you set up anything and put anything in the front of the Most High, and reverence that more than you reverence the Most High gets upset. And he removes that out of the way if you are part of the elect. He will remove anything in your path that is taking up more of your time than him. It says, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. Yeah, because the Lord is going to eventually destroy this place. And you Israelites that are here in the soils of America, that are part of the 2/3, you're going to burn up right with this place. You like to uphold it. You like to defend it. You don't like to hear the word of the Lord. You refuse to hear, the message that can save you. You stop your ears just like the people stopped their ears during the time of Noah. Well, guess what? Just like the people suffered the first death of the flood, you're going to suffer the second death of these nuclear fire and the lasers from the chariots. It says, I will heap mischief upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. Yeah. So these different things that are coming, the famines, the insurrections, the concentration camps, martial law, the implementation of the MTV, so on and so forth. All of these things are arrows from the Lord that he's going to use, to scourge you, because you refuse to turn back to him. And he's going to put hell on you Jakes out here. All of them individuals that came against, the IUIC, the Lord's going to deal with every last one of them. And they ain't going to do it, but they should take heed to what Elder Pastor said, and they should leave those churches alone. You're not going to find, you can't pull out anything out of a dead man. You can't, like they said, you can't, how does you can't, rock or something like that. You're not going to get anything out of those churches. That is a straight up congregation of the dead. And you see what happened. You see that they're becoming more and more beastly. Look like a pack of wild wildebeest. That's what the Lord said, leave them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. The blind lead the blind, they fall into a ditch. But what happens with these individuals like IUIC, they're gonna just do whatever the hell they want to do. The scriptures give us, look, if this particular people don't do so and so, they don't listen to you, the peace ain't resting with them, take your peace back, wipe the dust, and move on. But no, they're gonna make it happen. They're gonna do whatever the hell they want. And that's what the scriptures speak about, establishing your own righteousness. How many years have the Israelites been going back and forth with these jakes out here in the churches? And where they at? They're still in the churches. Now the ones that are coming out of there are the ones that the Lord is pulling out. But it's not because you go and set up a camp in front of the church that the Israelites out there, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to join them. No. The Lord is the one doing the sifting and the pulling out. Just because you go in front of a church doesn't mean that congregation is going to turn to you. And you see what happened. It got physical. So, you know, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see it, but I heard it that the one dude said that somebody bit him. You know, you gotta leave them people alone, man. Then the one guy pulled a gun out. Their wild beast, cast not your pearl before swine, and give not that which is holy unto the dogs, lest they turn around and trample it under their feet, and turn around and rend you. You can't be that desperate for members. Anyways, they shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without and terrors within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. Yeah, because they're going to get jacked up. They're going to be judged. It says, I said I would scatter them into corners. And that's where we're at. We're in corners. These hoods, these ghettos where Jake lived, those are corners. You sweeping and you want to get something out of the way. What do? You sweep into the corner. You throw something in the corner. And you get to it when you get to it. So these hoods are the corners that the Lord spoke about. And it even speaks on in Isaiah 59 that Jacob like wild bulls in the net. You know? This doesn't fit the small hatters and the wig wearers. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. And that's what happened. We're not recognized among these nations. All we recognize is as what? Niggas, spicks, spooks, wetbacks, tontos, beaners, slaves. We're not recognized as anything else, as any type of contribution except for that and entertainment. Being a goddamn clown. Every time you see Jake, you know, out there, he's always playing the fucking fool, a fucking clown. It's no different than going way back to the Amos and Andy and the Step and Fetch It and all that shit. They just got new young Jakes that are doing the same exact shit that they've been doing since they got here in slavery, or they were brought here in slavery. Entertain the master. And that's these people in the churches, so forget about them. Were it not that I feared the enemy, lest their adversary should behave himself strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord hath not done all this? For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Why? Because they rejected the Lord, and the Lord rejected them from being priests. That's why the Lord has a controversy with them, because there is no knowledge of the Most High in these churches. It's just lip service. It says, oh, that they were wise, that they understood their latter end, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. Right. And they don't consider their latter end. Because look at from way back when the law was first written till now. Look at the progression of Jake, which is pretty much a digression. Been in this country all these years, but then the other nations come here, and within a year, 6 months to a year, 2 years, they have businesses, they prosper, they have homes, lands, you know, whatever. But Jake has been here how long? And what's the most that Jake? Most that they get is what? These slums, these ghettos, maybe they might fix their apartment up to a somewhat ghetto luxurious apartment. And the ones that make it have to sell out. And the ones that go to college, they're pretty much being indoctrinated by the Edomite philosophy in order to make it in this society. Look at the many businesses and the many towns and cities, you know, going way back after so-called slavery that Jake helped build up, had their own businesses, traded, you know, money amongst themselves. Where are those places at? By now they should be as famous and as so-called great as America was. Where are those places at? Where's the Rosewoods and the Tulsa, Oklahomas? Where are they? They're not going to prosper because we as a people are under curses. All right. So now Isaiah 20, and these people in the churches, all they are is all about lip service, man. They're not about truth. They're not about, what the Most High has to say. They're not about reverencing what the Heavenly Father is saying. They're not about, they're not concerned with the Heavenly Father's thoughts, with his plans. All they care about is themselves and what makes them feel good. So this is Isaiah 29 and 9. Stay yourselves in wonder, cry out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Yeah, because these philosophies have them drunk. And the way that they reacted amongst IUIC, you could see that they were like drunken people. They were like drunken people in the midst of the IUIC members. Why? Because they are drunk off of the philosophy of religion, this Renaissance Christianity, this white supremacist Christianity. That's what they're drunk off of. They don't care about the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and his word. They could care less what the Bible says. They're going to eat whatever the fuck they want to eat. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want to do until the Lord judges them. And that's that. It says, for the Lord hath, who did it? The Most High did it. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep. There's an actual spirit upon these people. The scripture says, if you wander out of the way of understanding, you're going to remain in the congregation of the dead. The Most High put that spirit on them. And unless the Most High takes that spirit off of them, if Yahweh Bashem Yahushai don't take that spirit off of them, what's going to happen? They're not going to see. They're not going to get it. They're going to be blinded by the God of this world, by the philosophies of the God of this world, which is Esau. So you're wasting your time trying to go over there and set up camp in front of all of these different churches around America to wake these boneheads up. The Most High put them to sleep. And that goes directly with a curse that King David put upon Jake. Matter of fact, let me finish this up and we're going to go there. And hath closed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers, the seers hath he covered. So who covered them? The Most High covered them. He put them in that deep sleep. He programmed them not to wake up. So who the hell are you to go against the Most High and act like you're going to wake them up? Like you're wiser than the Most High. Like you got more power than the Most High to wake these people up. They're not going to wake up unless the Lord tapped in them to wake up if they happen to be a part of the elect. And the elect are not going to act like that. The elect are not going to act like a bunch of wild beasts. They may ask questions, they might buck up a little bit, because, coming out of this world, it's a whole total demonic vibe. There's a deep spirit of slumber out here in these different churches. So in order for one to come out of this, the Lord got to be with them, got to open up their mind, got to guide them, got to pull the blinders off. And even then, you're still going to have certain questions. You're still going to, because you're newly coming out of a total dark state. And even when you're dead asleep and somebody flicks the light on, it takes time for your eyes to get accustomed, to the light. And at first you get mad, like, who the hell, until your eyes adjust. So when the Lord wakes these jakes up, the ones that are part of this, they're not going to act like those individuals acted, biting and pulling guns out, wanting to fight, you know, pressing their bodies up, you know, ready to kill. And that's what Jake was doing in the past. You know, they were killing the prophets. Yahushua spoke about that in Matthew the 23rd chapter. This is Psalm 69 and 22. Let their table become a snare before them. What is the table? The truth, the knowledge. And in Isaiah 28, I believe it is, it says that all tables are full of vomit. They got the Bible there. You know, they got the appearance. They got the pulpit. You know, they got the congregation, the people sitting there. It's the appearance, you know, of righteousness. Is with the word of the Most High. But on there is not. But what they're teaching is nothing but a bunch of vomit. So their table is a snare, which means it's a trap. These same words that are set up for the salvation of the elect is also a snare and a trap to the 2/3 and to the jakes out there that are not a part of this around the world. It's a trap and it snares them. And even Apostle Peter spoke about that. You know, how there's certain individuals that wrestle with scriptures unto their own destruction. You got to remember that these scriptures are like it's a combination lock. There are certain keys and certain codes to be able to unlock these things. And they can't be unlocked by human mind. They can't be unlocked by any individual. It has to be unlocked through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rachak Kodash. So whoever he gives the word to, they're going to be able to move through these things with the keys and the combination that the Lord gave them. As to others that don't have the combination, they're gonna be screwed up. You know? Yep, that's a good precept the brother put up. 1 Corinthians 2:14. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Right, and when you go further in that chapter, I believe it's verse 6, it says, nevertheless, we speak this truth on this word. Then what? Perfect in understanding and to see. And that they see not and make their loins continuously to shake. Yeah. So they're not going to be able to receive this message. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you push. It says, pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Right, because when all hell breaks loose, it's over, man. These words, this message, this gospel, this good news is the mercy of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, is the protection of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And once the warning goes out enough, the next thing that comes is the wrath of the Most High for disobedience. It says, let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents, for they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded, which is what? The prophets. That's what the scripture said, that the Lord hewed them with the words of his prophet. This word is fire and people are wood. And this word, this fire, is about to devour these jakes out here that have refused the word time and time again. Just like we went to Harlem a few months back. What came out of it? Nothing. People are like zombies. I mean, a couple of people kind of acknowledge us, say hello, what's up. But for the most part, those people are gone. Harlem ain't what it used to be. It's pretty much reverted back to the valley of the dry bones. It says, add iniquity, listen good. Because I don't think some of these groups, I don't think they really read the scriptures. They just are given a curriculum a handful of scriptures for each topic, and that's what they follow. Because it says here, Psalm 69:27, add iniquity unto their iniquity. This is King David asking the Most High to add iniquity unto their iniquity. What is iniquity? It's a compound of sins, transgressions multiplied. So King David said, add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Come on, man. So that's why Yahushua, gave the best advice. He gave the best commission. You go into a city. How do you know if these people in the city are worthy? Well, you let your peace come upon them. And if they reject your peace, guess what? You bring your peace back to you and you shake the dust off of them. Because it's going to be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah. The Queen of Sheba is going to stand up in these times and condemn this generation, because they're not listening to the words that are coming out of the book, which they claim to believe in. It says, let them be blotted out of the book of the living, which is what? They're not part of the elect. And not be written with the righteous. So they're not going to get it unless the Lord pulls that veil off of them. And in order for the Lord to pull that veil off of them, they have to be a part of the elect. You're fighting a losing battle when you're going in front of all these different churches. Just teach the word as you've been doing on the streets. How do you think that all of those individuals in the different camps came in? Because the word was being taught. There wasn't camps in front of every church back in the days. Back in the days, brothers would go to churches, but that's a waste of time. The majority of the people that you see today from 2007 and now, the majority of the brothers you see out there teaching came by watching the videos on YouTube. Not because somebody posted up in front of their church and was cursing the church out and the pastor and the people in there, and all of a sudden something clicked. You know what? I'm going to go with these brothers. No. It happened by the word. It's the same thing with all the other different camps. They came across this by seeing a street teaching or by seeing videos on YouTube, whether it was classroom settings or whatever the case may be. And something clicked in their mind and they got involved because the Spirit was drawing them. Yahushua said, no man can come unto me except my Father which is in heaven draw him, and I will raise him up in the last days. You're fighting a losing battle. You're fighting a losing battle going to these different churches, trying to wake these jakes up. They ain't trying to be woken up. They are blinded by the Most High himself. So you're pretty much fighting against the Most High when you do that. But guys are going to do whatever the hell they're going to do. They don't listen. They didn't listen to the prophets back then. They ain't going to listen now. It ain't, it ain't here 2022 that they're going to all of a sudden, oh, you know what? I'm going to start listening. The only ones that are going to listen are the ones that listened back then. The ones that gave heed back then will be given heed now in these times. Because these people in the church, they're not going to get it. If the Most High wants them, then the Lord will wake them up. But the Lord ain't going to wake them up if they're not a part of the elect. I'm going to leave you with this last precept here in Isaiah 59. This is one of the first scriptures that came to mind earlier. Isaiah 59:1. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. Right, so the Lord is doing the saving, not you. See, the problem is you get these demigods, these individuals that get so high-minded that they feel like they're the savior. It says, but your iniquities have separated between you and your power. We just read that what King David said, right? And your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. Right. So there's a block there. So unless the Lord removes that block, there's no advancing. And a lot of these individuals in the churches, if you tell them that the Most High and His Son Yahweh Shai are so-called black men, they'll want to kill you. They ain't accepting that because they've been deep in that slumber. They've been deep, in Master's pocket. And a lot of these pastors in them, they're Masons. A lot of them are low-level witches, Boule members. And their job is to keep the congregation blind. And that's why you see Jake acting like wildebeest out there and just regular beasts. Because there's a constant incantation, inculcation, constantly, day after day, week after week from these churches. It's a satanic spell, and the only way to get from under that satanic spell is the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai frees anyone from that satanic spell. It's strong. It's a strong delusion the Lord sent them that they should believe a lie. And a strong delusion is not easily broken unless the Lord breaks that delusion. It says, for your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies. Your tongue hath muttered perversions. Right. You've killed the prophets. You killed the Son of the Lord. You refused His word from the beginning of the world all the way up until now. So all of these things are factors in you not receiving His word, outside of you not being the elect, because the elect will receive it. None calleth for justice, right? They ain't concerned about no justice. Only time they're concerned about justice is when they coming against, so-called coming against the police for killing another Jake. And even that is of the Lord. And they don't and they don't understand why Jake is getting killed by the police. It says, nor any pleadeth for truth, right? They ain't pleading for the truth. Because if they were, when you bring stuff out of the scriptures, they would listen. They ain't listening. They ain't trying to listen. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. And that's why they don't even realize that when they learn these things in these churches and teach that garbage, they're committing iniquity. They're conceiving iniquity. And once you conceive, you're going to have fruit that comes out. And that fruit, in the case of these Israelites in the churches, is a cockatrice egg that breaks forth into a bunch of venomous serpents, vipers. That's why John the Baptist, Yahweh Shai, called them a bunch of vipers. All them Jakes back then. And those Jakes are back here now, in leadership positions, in these different churches, teaching this nonsense, this garbage. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave the spider's web. Yeah, and that's that philosophy and that religion of Christianity is a cobweb. And with cobwebs, when a bug gets caught up in the cobweb, the more it struggles, the more tangled it gets. And that's how these people are. They're tangled in that web. Unless the Lord gives that eye salve that will allow them to glide over that web and not get caught up in it. That's why it says, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not. It says, he that eateth of their eggs dieth. Yeah, because all that stuff that you're doing in these churches, you're going to die if you stay in it. And that which is crushed breaketh out into a viper, right? Because that's what they're grooming. Nothing but a bunch of vipers. That's what you see what's going on. It says, their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hand, right? And when you go to Isaiah, it's either 30 or 31. Just bear with me one second. It's 30. And 1. Woe to the rebellious children, that's you Israelites, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me. Right, you ain't taking counsel from the Lord, because when the word comes out, you don't accept it. And that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit. That's that venomous viper covering that you're putting on. Incantation Christianity, Renaissance Christianity. That they may add sin to sin. Pretty much. So going back to Isaiah 59 and 7, their feet run to evil. You've seen that happen out there. And they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction are in their paths. That's all they're thinking about is destroying. Get out of here, you know. By any means, whether they got to whoop your ass, they got to bite you, they got to spit on you, they got to shoot you, you got to go. And don't be surprised if they already licked off some shots at one of the camps. Don't be surprised if you hear a big brawl break out, or somebody getting stabbed, or somebody getting shot. Hey, who will pity a charmer that gets bit by a snake? Those are vipers, man. Leave them alone. They be leaders of the blind, and the blind lead the blind, they will fall into a ditch. What scripture are you guys reading from? What Bible are you guys reading from? The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. Right? Because once you get involved in it, you don't know it. You ain't about to receive peace. Because this is the refreshing. This is the peace. This message, which they're not accepting, they're not receiving. It says, therefore, judgment far from us, neither does justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity, and for brightness, but we walk in darkness. And that's why you're constantly in the same rut. Time after 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 time again and again. You're in the same rut. You never progress from that hole that you're in. We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men. We roar all like bears, and mourn sore like doves. We look for judgment, but there is none, for salvation, but it is far from us, far off from us. And then when you're given the opportunity to learn it, you reject it even more. So the hell with you. The hell with you. For our transgressions are multiplied before thee, and our sins testify against us. For our transgressions are with us, and as for our iniquities, we know them. In transgressing and lying against the Lord, and departing away from our power, speaking oppression and revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood. You know? And judgment is turned away backward, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Right? That's why you never get any answers. That's why you never get any solutions. Because when you're given the solution and the answers, you reject them, you cast them away. So you're casting away the truth to your own confusion, to the confusion of your own faces. It says, yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. Why? Because they consider the Most High. Isaiah 1 and 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. You're being rebellious. As a matter of fact, I had that word rebellious queued up. Let's get it. Let's get it. Offline dictionary, rebellious. Resisting control, or authority. Discontented as toward authority. Participating in organized resistance to a constituted government. And this is a government. This is the government of Yahushua. The government is upon his shoulders. And we're giving you the future news of the government that's coming, which is the kingdom of heaven, ruled by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the Israelites. But you're pushing it away. It says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel does not know, the people does not consider. Even these animals know who their owners are. But you Israelites, you don't consider. You're Sodom's children. Among my people are found wicked men. It says, and our sinful nation are people laden with iniquity. When you're laden with something, meaning you're covered over with it. It tells you that in what, in 2 Ezra 16, down towards the end. It's like you're trying to go through a bush, you know, that's over, you know, it's grown with thorns and thistles and all. You ain't gonna get through that. And that's how you jakes are out here. You're laden with iniquity. You're pickled in it. A seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither modified with ointment. Right. And boy, you're gonna see it in once all hell breaks loose, you know, Lord's will, very, very soon, because we're at that point now. You're gonna see this rebellious spirit that you Israelites had out here, you know, and the consequences that come with being rebellious. When you start feeling the pain of the calamities that are going to befall this earth, that are going to come down hard upon you. You know, you refused to get right. You made mockery of the Lord, of his word, of his men. And the time is going to come where he's going to make mockery of you. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers and you few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.